has a dual jurisdiction now and can become what it was intended to do originally, and that is the chief of counterintelligence for the entire United States. The second part is that you have agencies such as sky marshals, marine marshals, the Coast Guard, and other agencies which are now working together. We can do away with FEMA, I grant you. There's enough charitable organizations that can handle that. But the other functions have to be handled by somebody. And I would much rather have them in one place, under one leader, under one person, that we can get some accountability, and having them spread throughout the entire government with 14 different secretaries answering the call for one particular item. This is a ridiculous situation where before we had to try and get something done, you had to go to 6 different departments. And the way that I know this is I was a special agent for Army Intelligence for 12 years, and I had to do this. And I can tell you, you don't want to go back. From what I understand right now, this has become a good thing for us, for our intelligence community, to have them all in one place. Now, everybody's worried about their, let me just say this, I'm not worried about our individual liberties because of the department. As far as the army, having a private army for this president, in case somebody hasn't read the Constitution, the first duty of the President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, which means he has that authority already. He can order any federal troops anywhere in this country at any time if he wants to.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Delegate. At this time, I would like to call on the Resolutions Committee, because they do have a particular viewpoint of why they did or did not include this language in the platform.
It was said by somebody much more famous than me that the first victim of security is liberty.
That's right.
And I think the committee, and I think really everybody here understands that. The view of the committee was simply that there's a balancing act going on here. There's a balancing act on the one hand with security and the need to protect the citizens of the United States against those who would do them harm, and the balance on the other side of protection of our liberties. And that is why we revised the language. The original platform read, "We support the strengthening of our nation's homeland security while protecting the constitutional rights of all United States citizens and lawful resident aliens." And we modified that to say the natural and constitutionally protected rights in an effort to try to strengthen the balance more in favor of the protection of liberty, recognizing that there's a balance between security and liberty if we're to have security. That's what we were trying to achieve.
Thank you. We're now ready for our second speaker in favor of the proposed amendment. Anybody wish to speak in favor of the amendment? Mic number 2, recognize your name and precinct number.
Dave Johnson, 118. We live in an era when the IRS has abused their ability. There are people in this room who are involved in lawsuits against the IRS. So fundamentally, do you trust the federal government? And I would remind everybody, it's the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. This shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, in particular describing the place to be searched, specifically the place to be searched, and the persons and the things to be seized. That's the Fourth Amendment. It's specific. There was never an intention to have broad searches of every email in the Verizon network. If you try to have a balance between security and liberty, you will have neither. And I conclude by saying, get out of my damn phone and get out of my damn emails unless you have a specific warrant. This is a violation of our constitutional right in the 4th Amendment.
Amen.
Thank you, Roger. By the way, I would like to just, a little bit of a house cleaning issue. If you're near or around chairs that have extra candidate literature, if you'd like to pass those in towards the front, one of our sergeant at arms will be coming by and picking that literature up so that we can actually redistribute that back to the candidates. Thank you. Now looking for a speaker in opposition to the amendment. Mic number 1, you recognize. Please give your name and precinct number. Recognized for 2 minutes.
Andrew Kelly, Precinct 81, and I'll try to pass. I just want to say that while I agree that we have had our liberties eroded, especially since 9/11, and that the consolidation of intelligence agencies may have been conducive to this, I think that we perhaps should endeavor to create a new system before we essentially use checks and balances whereby agencies just would cooperate with one another, and that effectively limited their ability to exceed what we would feel comfortable with. In this day and age, I think there just has to be a better way than, getting rid of what improvements we have made, and that insofar as there are problems, they need to be addressed specifically. I don't think that data the Department of Homeland Security would prevent, for example, the NSA from still reading our emails. Those, I think, are two discrete issues which need to be addressed separately.
Thank you, Delegate. We're now looking for a speaker in opposition. Mic number 1, you recognize. Name and precinct.
John Greer, Precinct 2. The Department of Homeland Security, everyone off their TV will recognize that they are preparing for war. Their targets are people just like you and me, pregnant women, children with guns, and they're buying all the hollow point ammunition. That is not target practice. They've got armored vehicles on our home soil. This is not a war field. This needs to be stopped.
Thank you, Delegate. We're looking for a third and final speaker in favor of the proposed amendment.
In favor.
Joe Ferguson,
That's all right.
60. I just want to make a comment about the federal government. If you don't control the size of the government is going to control you.
You're sergeant of arms, right?
I think we're all in agreement to that. Homeland Security is just another one of those things where it allows the government to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it goes out of control. Not only is it out of control in terms of infringement of our rights and liberties, it's also costing us financially. Money that should be in your purse, in your wallet, for you to spend the way it was designed for our nation to operate. You're now handicapped because you're paying for something which, quite frankly, is an infringement of the state's rights. So I ask you to please pay close attention to what we're about to do here, because this is important to us. This is important to us as we approve this thing. Thank you, Bill. We have 3 speakers in favor and in opposition. We're going to move to immediate vote on the amendment. The amendment is in front of you on the screen. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it.
Yay.
That's the second check. The next one is with respect to lines 49 and 50. It is to strike lines 49 and 50 and to replace with, quote, repeal Patriot Act, end quote.
Is there a second to the amendment? Has been moved and seconded. Is the author prepared? You're ready. Name and precinct number. Recognize for
Stephen Dallas, 169. That is the monstrosity that gave us Homeland Security. That is the one that said it was okay to snoop in everybody's email and their phone. That one is the one that needs to go first. I want my liberty. I'm not worried about some dude from the middle of Afghanistan coming in here. That's what we have constitutional carry for. We can handle it ourselves.
Amen.
I'm not worried about some guy from Libya doing something, because quite frankly, he ain't gonna come. He don't care. What I am worried about is all those guys that he referenced having a whole bunch of ammunition, a whole bunch of firearms that I'm currently not allowed to own, someday deciding that I'm the enemy. Oh, that's up to the discretion of the president because of the Patriot Act.
That's right.
I'm nobody's enemy, except for that government that seek to enslave me. And that is all part of that same thing. Now, you can color it however you want. You can say I'm reactionary, which I think I've proven today I'm not. But at the end of the day, that is too much power in too little hands, and it needs to stop. And we, the Republican Party in Texas, and the best state left in our country, hopefully still the most free state in what was formerly the most free country, need to stand up and say, no more, get lost, leave us alone, and it's not your business what we're doing until we interfere with somebody else. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Delegate. This time we're ready for our first speaker in opposition to the proposed amendment.
What the quorum called?
The quorum is determined by those delegates present. There's not a set number that we have to have.
According to your rules, I believe it says 1/3 of the delegates that were seated at the time of the convention.
Okay, we're looking for 104 delegates. If you are a delegate, I'm going to ask. I would like to have all those who are delegates remaining, and if you are an alternate being seated, if you would, please stand. I'm going to have the Sergeant at Arms give us a count. You may be seated. We needed a total of 104 delegates to have a quorum. We currently have, Madam Secretary, 156. Thank you very much. At this point, we're ready for a speaker in opposition to the proposed amendment.
Mic number 1, you're recognized.
I'm a delegate from District 2. I think we're getting a little frantic here. I'm not an expert, and I couldn't give you a lot of statistics, but we had both the Patriot Act and the Homeland Security Administration under President Bush. And so far, nobody I know has been harassed or arrested or had their emails violated or what have you. To quote the governor, I think we have a lot more to do from the EPA and the NEA and we're in the third one.
TSA.
Thank you, Delegate. This time we're going to have a clarification in the particular perspective of the Resolutions Committee.
Just before we take the vote, I did want to point out there was a comment earlier about the problem with blanket warrants being used to tap phones and email addresses and that kind of thing. And actually, the committee dealt with that. If you will look, please, on lines 224, 225, and 226. The committee, while maintaining the U.S. Patriot Act, said, and is proposed to the convention, blanket warrants are unconstitutional and should be denied. We support amendment of the U.S. Patriot Act to clarify that blanket surveillance under blanket warrants is prohibited by law. With that amendment that we've already proposed, with that addition, we believe that the platform is adequate as it is.
We've got one speaker in favor and one speaker opposed to the proposed amendment. I'm looking for the next speaker in favor of the proposed amendment. Looking now for a speaker.
I rise to speak in favor of the amendment.
Delegate, give us name and precinct and recognize for 2 minutes.
Andrew Pizzali, Precinct 60. First of all, let me remind the previous speaker that the largest and greatest number of individuals killed on this planet have been killed by their own governments. So let us not forget that just because it happened in China or Cambodia or the Soviet Union, that it could not happen here. The USA Patriot Act was written long before 9/11. Those words that seized our liberties as enshrined by the Fourth Amendment were written awaiting for an event. When that event took place, the bill was put before Congress, and not unlike Obamacare and other bills that were put before Congress, which Congress was told, we need to vote and then we'll find out what's in it. The same happened with the USA Patriot Act. We found what was in it. The Department of Homeland Security, the Transportation Security Administration, and the multitude of other organizations that have grown out of that act are the consequence of trading liberty for security. As was pointed out earlier by the chairman of this committee, that is a losing proposition, and those who would trade security, liberty for security, will have neither. I urge my fellow delegates to support the repeal of the Patriot Act and stating this in our platform.
Amen.
Thank you, Delegate. Looking for speakers in opposition. Any speakers in opposition? Is there a motion to call the question? Has been moved. Is there a second? Has been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We will now go to an immediate vote on the proposed amendment. The amendment is before you on the screen. All of those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I wish to point out to the body that we have to clear the room in 7 minutes.
with the deletion of Homeland Security and the deletion of the Patriot Act, there will be some other provisions in the platform that will also require revisions that are that make references to those things. And if you would give me permission to make those changes so that they are consistent throughout the document, I think we probably need some kind of motion.
There is a motion to allow the platform committee to incorporate the changes and to make the wording proper to reflect the amendments. Has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor of going to immediate vote say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We'll now go to immediate vote to allow the resolutions committee to be able to put those changes into action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, and we will post the final versions on and let, well, just keep looking at it. Anyway, the next amendment, and I'll have that, is to, well, I think that's the same one we considered to delete lines 12. I'm sorry, no, that's not true. Go back, I apologize. Well, okay, it's been pointed out to me that that was the last one submitted, and I have gone and shuffled the order. So if you'll hand that back to me, we'll put that. What is the next?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn, given that we have to vacate the room in 4 minutes. The parliamentarian has just informed me that we cannot adjourn until we formally close all the business of the convention. But I like your idea.
The next amendment that has been proposed is to, on line 190, this has to do with the State Department, the State Board of Education. The committee added, based upon resolutions received, this line on page 180, on line 189, any powers that have been removed from the SBOE and given to the state agencies should be restored. The proposal would say state agencies and the unelected Texas Education Agency, and then the word should be changed to shall. Those are the proposals.
Is there a second to this amendment? Second. Has been moved and seconded. Is the author prepared?
Yes.
Your name and precinct, you're recognized for 2 minutes.
Colleen Epstein, precinct number 76. It's just a simple addition just to clarify and sort of as a point of education for people who might read this, that the Texas Education Agency is an unelected body, and it just strengthens this, and it changes the word should to shall, which I noticed has been done throughout the document.
Thank you, Delegate. We're going to have a clarification from the Resolutions Committee.
In the interest of time, I've just talked to 2 or 3 members of the committee, and we have agreed to revise lines 189 and 190 to change should to shall and to add the words and the unelected Texas Education Agency spelled out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Committee. That was a pretty fast one there. So now we're ready for the next. I think we have how many left? 3 resolutions left. So give yourself a round of applause. We're down to the last 3.
Would Chris Bingham come up here, please? If he's still here. Ask Chris. I'm not sure how to treat this because the Article 5 Convention of States was not approved, but nonetheless, this is a separate resolution, and it pertains to preparation for one, and I'll just read it. Therefore, be it resolved that we strongly encourage the Texas legislature to convene a committee to determine the history and best practices of the Convention of States. After said committee reports its findings, to possibly proceed with any actions needed for putting in an application to call for a Convention of States limited to proposing amendments to the Constitution, to impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, limit the power of jurisdiction of the federal government, and limit the terms of office for its officials and members of Congress. And number 3, the Texas legislature enact legislation to control the action of our commissioners to any convention of states that may be called.
Yeah, been my first convention and everything. I've enjoyed it and learned a lot.
Is there a second to the amendment? Order, point of order.
I believe this issue has been heard and has been declined, cannot be reinstated or readdressed by somebody who has supported that particular that particular amendment. I believe that would be a violation of Robert's Rule of Order.
That's correct. That is correct. Is the author here? The parliamentarian has determined that this resolution has been dealt with in similar fashion, although not exactly the same wordage, but has been dealt with the Constitutional Convention, etc., and therefore this particular amendment at this convention is not eligible to be considered. That is correctly from Robert's rules.
Mr. Bingham had another one that also had to do with the Convention of States, and based upon the ruling, that one has just now been withdrawn as well. So we'll proceed to the last. Actually, we're going to interrupt something right now because we had one other resolution that was adopted, and we think it's an important one. It's an honorary resolution, and Crystal Griffith will now present it.
All right, good afternoon. First of all, is Diane Johnson in the room? Would you come forward, please? She's currently the president of Conner Harrington. I'm here to, very honored to be here, to present this resolution to a lovely lady named Dixie Clem, who many of you know. However, she had to have surgery this week, and so if you could please keep her in your thoughts and prayers, as she was not able to join us today. But I'm going to read this aloud, and then on behalf of Dixie, Diane will accept this honorary resolution. A resolution of the 2014 Collin County Republican Senate District 8 Convention honoring Dixie Clem. Whereas Dixie Clem of Plano has been a faithful public servant and political stalwart of our Republican Party for many decades. Whereas Ms. Clem helped establish the Collin County Republican Party in 1958, serving as its director for 30 years and working tirelessly for over 50 years to grow our base of supporters into the thriving and active party it is today, including her present service as precinct chair of Precinct 26. And whereas Ms. Clem was a charter member of the Conner Harrington Republican Women's Club, now one of the most tenured Republican women's clubs in Collin County, earning the distinction of several awards, including the TFRW Award of Excellence and the NFRW Diamond Award. And whereas Ms. Clem herself has received numerous awards, including the TFRW's prestigious Top 10 Outstanding Women of 1979, along with an annual honor award given by the Collin County Republican Party in her name to a deserving young Republican woman. And whereas Ms. Clem's imprint on the history, path, and continued strength of our party has been so distinct, it is nearly impossible to think of the successes of our local party yesterday or today without recalling her name. And whereas Ms. Clem continues to inspire those around her that if you believe enough, have faith enough, and work hard enough, truly anything is possible. And one grassroots volunteer can make a long-lasting, positive change in their community through the channels of public policy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we celebrate the life and continued legacy of this fine woman, Miss Dixie Clem, who we honor for her daily service to Texas and our Republican Party. We wish her good health, great happiness, and bestow many heartfelt thanks. Thank you.
On behalf of Ms. Dixie, I will say thank you, and I know she will be thrilled, and she is very sorry that she couldn't be here to accept it herself.
The last amendment proposed to the report is a proposal to delete 112.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I believe that we've also handled this when there was an attempt to delete it, and it was re-entered. It's the same wording.
The parliamentarian has ruled and just informed me that the original motion was to delete a significantly greater amount of lines, and so he has ruled that this is still germane and be acceptable because it's limiting to just 3 lines.
And it is a proposal to delete lines 112 through 115, and I am assuming up to the period, leaving the word "we" at the end of line 115.
Is there a second to this amendment? Has been moved and seconded. Is the author prepared to give a presentation for 2 minutes? You name it. Precinct, please.
Yes, Charles Fink, Precinct 59. Let me say, at the very beginning, I am suggesting we remove lines with which I agree. All right? But in the interest of party unity, getting government and the party out of our bedrooms, to be blunt about it, I don't believe this belongs in our platform. At the same time, I feel very strongly that the remainder of this section is very important. We should not be granting special privileges to those who practice homosexuality, and we oppose any criminal or civil penalties against those who oppose homosexuality. It's none of your business, folks. Get the government out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker in opposition to the proposed amendment? There is. Mic number 1 is recognized. Please give your name, precinct number.
Cindy Ash, Precinct 111. You know how you say things before and you just can't get them out and you go back to your seat and you think, I could have said that a whole lot better. Well, let me try a second time. As Republicans, I think we are the party of liberty. We are the party that represents free speech. And the way that the government is going right now, I am very concerned that my ability to speak freely with the religious values which I hold is going to be determined very soon to be inappropriate, and that I may be guilty of a federal crime for wrong. Our federal government is already deciding not to prosecute the law that it determined by fiat it's just not going to do. So I have no doubt that when they want to come after conservatives who espouse a particular religious belief, they will do that. And that's my concern. And so I would like to leave these lines in. I think they're foundational to our Judeo-Christian background. And I think they're very important to a number of us who still want to be able to speak and to uphold